Hey, everyone. Welcome to the VO Boss Podcast. I'm your host, Ann Ganguza, and today I am so glad and so honored to have a very special guest, Aisha Manrique, with us today because,
Yeah.
from the Caribbean. I say that because I have these issues with the time zone, and we had an interview scheduled. Gosh, what about a month ago, Aisha?
Yes,
And of
exactly
course,
a month ago.
I don't know what happened, but time zones and me, I don't know.
Yeah, that's okay. Things
But that's
happen.
why I am so excited to have you here today to talk about voiceover. For
Yes.
those bosses out there that are not familiar with Aisha, she is a distinguished voice talent and performance coach whose voice resonates across the Caribbean and beyond. She does commercials to corporate safety videos to animated folklore and luxury vehicle virtual tours. She's lent her voice to an array of global brands and projects. Her versatility and her passion, oh, hang on. Her versatility and her passion for vocal empowerment have also inspired her coaching work. And she is the voice of the Caribbean Music Awards and was also selected to be the voice of God for 24 live Disney shows. Wow.
Yep.
That is an impressive resume, Aisha. So welcome and thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. This is such a surreal moment. I have been listening to you for so long and now I'm actually here. It's like, OMG.
Well, thank you. I am so glad. And again, it is my honor to interview you today. So let's start off with how you got started and tell us a little bit about the voiceover industry in the Caribbean. And I love hearing stories from different countries to see how voiceover exists and what the industry is like, because we can really learn so much from one another.
That's right. Okay, sure. My journey to the voiceover industry, I believe as a child, I already knew what I was sent to this earth to do. Because I remember sitting on the edge of my grandmother's bed and looking at myself in the mirror and pretending that I'm speaking on a mic. This was before I knew voiceovers or voice acting was a thing. I just pretended that I was reading to the masses and just doing my thing. And then fast forward to attending secondary school, I was asked to represent the college at a Rotary Youth Leadership Awards function. At this function, you had to speak about issues influencing the youth in the Caribbean.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there was one particular sponsor there. Nobody knew who he was, but whilst he was on stage, he asked the audience, I want anyone from the audience to just join me on stage. Just join me. I'm not going to tell you what you're going to do. Just join me on stage. I always tell this story. When you're looking at the movies, and you have the good angel on the left and you have the not so good angel on the right. The good angel is telling you, go, you could do it, you have our support. And then you have the not so good angel on the right saying, what are you doing? You need to sit down there. You're going to make a fool of yourself. Everyone is going to laugh at you. And I went through this for about 10 minutes straight until my left hand just went into the air. I believe it was divinely, created for that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And then he said, you. I was like, oh my God. That's when my heart started racing. I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? Either way, I ended up on the stage. And that's when he said, okay, young lady, congratulations for making it here. What I need you to do now is simply come up with a commercial. Whatever comes to mind. He gave me 15 minutes to think of a script, and I was like, oh my God, this has to be faith. He gave me 15 minutes, I took 5 minutes. I literally just wrote what I had to say on this spot, and I just envisioned myself as being a cologne, right, for men. And I
Mm-hmm.
just changed my voice into this female seductive voice. And I said, hey, you, yes, you want me, don't you? You smell me, can't you? Yes, you can. And then I switched over to announcer mode, sold at all leading stores nationwide. Listen, and the crowd went wild. And he said, young lady, clearly you have a gift. And that's when he awarded me a scholarship to
Nice.
pursue broadcasting. And I definitely grasped the opportunity and I never looked back.
That's awesome. Wow. So from a young age, you got into voiceover. Did you start working right away? Did you get coaching? Did you
No.
what was the progress for you to
Yeah. Actually, I knocked on many doors before I
Mhm.
got my first yes. I asked persons who were actually experienced in the industry, and I would usually get the generic responses: prepare a demo and submit to the agencies. You need to prepare a demo and submit to the agencies. But I always knew that that was not enough. I felt in my spirit that that was not the creme de la creme if we really wanted to penetrate the industry. Then eventually I realized, okay, Aisha, if you're going to do this, you're going to have to roll your sleeves up and do your research and get it done. This is what you want to do, then find a way to get it done. So I did not make any excuses. I went to good old Google and I did my random research and I reached out and I asked questions, and one thing led to the other. I created my demos. That's when CDs were a thing, right? Now we're
Yes.
sending the files,
I
right?
remember that. Yep.
And I invested so much money in creating these CDs. I don't know how many of them were actually thrown, in the garbage bin,
So you
but
mailed them out, I assume, right? Or
yes,
you
I
gave them out. You
mailed, I
distributed and
delivered
you
them.
mailed.
Yep, yep, I did it all.
Now, give
And
me the time frame. Was this the
yes,
1990s, 80s? What was it?
that was, let me see, I'll tell
Because
you.
you don't look like you would be doing CDs. I'm just saying.
Well,
You look
thank
so
you.
young.
Thank you. I would say it was approximately 15 years ago.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It could be 15 years ago, could
Yep.
even be, yeah, around that time. And as I said before, I knocked on so many doors, heard so many no's until I heard my first yes. And that's the thing. No matter how many no's I heard, it still did not discourage me. I always knew that this was going to happen no matter what. I felt it
Ah,
inside.
you
Yeah.
always you felt it. So I
Yeah.
feel like you manifested that.
Correct. Correct.
Yes, I am.
Correct.
I am a believer. I am a believer in that manifesting
So,
your destiny. That's great. But
yeah.
I also believe that interviewing many bosses, that it sounds a lot like you put in the work,
Oh, yes.
and you overcame a lot of, let's put, maybe the imposter syndrome. Like, maybe I shouldn't, especially since that first time when you raised your, what was it, your left hand? When you
Yes.
raised your left hand to get up on stage, right? You listened to your gut instinct.
Yes.
And you just followed that. And I love that
Correct.
because I'm a big believer in that.
And I continue to allow that still small voice to
Mm-hmm.
guide me because I still deal with the imposter syndrome. I think that's something
Yeah.
that it's something that we have to always deal with, but it has to do a lot with your belief systems and
Yes.
your practices, your personal development, to just strengthen that side of you so that when it does come knocking, you're able to say, listen, not today. So I've put in the work. I continue to put in the work because, as you know all too well, Anne, the voiceover industry is continuously evolving. From the time you
Yes.
get comfortable in one area, it's because there's a new trend. So you always have to constantly reinvent yourself, try to figure out how you can position your brand so that you can be found, you can be accessed easily, and that your work can speak for itself. So that when the powers that be see or hear your work, they have no you're so good, they have no choice but to want to work with you.
Well, you seem to have such a diverse portfolio. I mean, you're doing corporate, you're doing commercial, you're doing voice of God. What
Yes.
would you say? Have you landed on any one particular genre that you feel is your specialty, or are you welcoming all? I know as a voice actor myself, I welcome everything, but I do have a favorite. Do
Okay.
you have a
Yeah.
favorite? And yeah,
Yeah.
let's hear about that.
I actually realized, I would say initially commercial was my favorite.
Hmm.
Because, of course, it's such a wide variety of scripts, right? You get to enter so many different worlds, but experiencing being the voice of God for both the Caribbean Music Awards as well as for
Hmm.
Disney, when you realize the power of the human voice, being able to captivate audiences and to feel that reaction from them based on your intonation, based on your breathing techniques, to breathe life into these words, I want to say that I'm leaning towards live announcing.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. And let me just ask you, because I mean, you've had no small jobs for Voice of God. I mean, you're Disney, and and the Caribbean Music Awards. How did you secure those jobs? Were those things that you had auditioned for before, or did you make a network connection? How did you get those? And what would be your
Right.
advice for, I know people here in the US that struggle, that want to do live announce, and it's tough for them to get those connections, or to get the connection,
Yes.
to get the opportunity.
Yes, yes. Great question. Staying ready is so important. Investing in your brand. That is what worked for me on both instances.
Okay.
Because this happened so peculiarly for me, because when I got the call from the agency that represented Disney, I did not audition. I did not even know that they had a show where they needed a Caribbean voice.
Aha.
And they reached out to me. And as a matter of fact, I was actually coaching a client and I missed the call, but it was around my birthday and I thought it was a family member, because I do have a lot of family abroad. And I thought it was just one of them calling to wish me happy birthday. It's when I got a message on social media where they indicated they just tried contacting me, and
Aha.
they,
Your agent or Disney? Your agent.
Disney's agent. I don't have an
Okay.
agent.
Oh, okay. All right.
Right?
Wow.
Yeah, because it's so different, and that's one of the major differences in the Caribbean. We don't have
That-
agents in the Caribbean.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Every
So
opportunity that you get on is based on the work, the blood, sweat, and tears that you have to put in as the talent.
wow. And so when did this happen? Was this recently, or had you been in the voiceover industry for 10 years, 20 years, and then you have a lot of work to show for it, and you probably have it displayed on your website,
Yes.
and
Yes.
that's how they found you?
Yes, they found me
Wow.
actually on social media,
Okay.
because I am very intentional with when I post, how I post, what I
Okay.
post. Yeah. I started taking social media extremely seriously, I would say approximately 2 years ago.
Okay.
And
What
in
platforms?
Instagram and TikTok. Of course, I'm on LinkedIn as well, but I am most active on TikTok as well as Instagram.
Got it.
And they actually sent me a message on Instagram indicating that they tried to contact me. They gave me some details about the project, and then they asked if that's something I would be interested in. And I was like, would I be interested?
Hello.
Is that
Now,
even a
did you
question?
was now I'm not questioning your your credibility at all, but was it something that you said, are they really is this really Disney? I mean, is it one of those things where you were like questioning, oh my gosh, is that right? Because I know there's a lot of scams going on out
Yep,
there,
yep, yep.
and with that are representing large brands, and it's not necessarily a large brand. So how did you know? What were the clues that
Yeah.
made you answer or respond to that?
Okay, well, the individual that messaged me, I actually stalked her profile. I looked
Okay.
at every single post. I went as far down as her very first post, and then I realized, okay, so she's actually, working for the agency. And then I went onto the agency's page, and that's when I started to, and then she offered to call me back.
Okay.
And I
Yeah.
was listening, even in the conversation, I was wondering, I was waiting to hear if she would ask if I need to submit any funds for anything. I was just waiting for that
Right.
red
Exactly.
flag.
Oh my gosh, yes, absolutely. You do
But
have to be careful of that.
yes, but that did not happen. Everything went smoothly, and I was able to, have the experience. The team at Disney, they told me, how happy they were with the work that I did.
Now,
So
was this in the Caribbean, or did you travel to the U.S.?
yeah,
Was it
yeah,
something?
travel to the
Okay.
US. Correct.
Okay. And where did you come to California and not come to say hello to me? Oh,
Your sister
where
told me
were
that you weren't available. You were busy.
my agent called your agent and said,
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
wow. So were you in California? Did you come to California to do this, or
Actually, it
where
happened
did you
in
go?
Manhattan.
Oh, okay. Okay. In New York.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah. And it was really a great experience,
Wow.
after having that experience, and it really showed me that the only limits that exist are the ones that you place upon yourselves.
Absolutely. So what's really great is that now that you've done this for Disney, are they going to be? I would imagine that now you did a great job for Disney, and now there's a possibility that they'll call you back again and
Well,
again.
definitely that's the hope,
Yeah. Yeah.
Until then, I will continue to put in the work and continue to represent my brand as best as I can, and let the powers that be do the rest of the work.
I love that you talked about content creation on social media. And I'll tell you what, it really is, it's something that I put a lot of work into as well.
Yes,
Because, again, I always tell my students you can have the best voice in the world, but it doesn't do you any good if nobody can find you to hire
correct.
you. And
I
so
agree.
let's talk about the type of content that you create on social media. And do you do Instagram Reels? Are you
Yes.
doing, TikTok? I assume you're doing videos. And what types of content are you putting out there to
Yeah.
draw the attention to what
Okay.
you do?
Sure. So I would mix them up between educational content,
Mm.
inspirational content, and entertaining.
Okay.
So for the days I feel like, you know what? If I encounter a word that's, a tongue twister, it's giving me a challenge to pronounce. I was like, you know what? I need to share these experiences because a lot of people, obviously, when they hear the finished product, they think, oh, we're so polished all the time and this thing is easy. It always seems easier than it really is, right? And
Absolutely.
I came across this word that was giving me so much problems. And I said, okay, let me capture this experience. And
Hmm.
I gave about 5 different takes trying to show them the different positions I had to put my body in to actually be able to pronounce this word. And the persons went wild and they said, you know what, we need more content like this, please.
Oh, that's
So that's,
funny.
yeah.
Do you remember
And
the word?
oh, yes, I do. But I mean, okay, if the sauce that which is chaya sauce, but that's not the name of the sauce. So I'm sure you know
Hmm.
what I'm referring to.
Hmm.
It
Hmm.
begins
Hmm.
with W, and it's that word that you see it when you see it on the grocery shelves. You have to look at it 3 times before you
Ah!
pronounce it.
I love it. Well, I'm going to have the bosses look that up on social media, and maybe I'll
Yes.
provide a link to it. But okay,
Yeah.
so that would be maybe you're entertaining, and then what
Yes.
else? What and was that on Instagram? And then what type of content are you doing? Different content for TikTok?
Right. So,
Um,
yeah,
we
the
had a ban and
entertaining.
now we don't have a ban and we might have a ban again. So I don't know if it's probably not affecting you in the Caribbean, but for us, it's
Right.
there's a lot of people whose livelihoods were made on TikTok,
Yep.
but there are security,
Yep.
security issues that people are talking about, and so talked
Yes.
about the type of content you're putting on TikTok.
Okay, so actually, that video I just shared with you in terms of the entertaining was actually on TikTok,
Okay.
and it did really
Hmm.
well.
Hmm.
And for Instagram, I tend to have a different style. I would more post inspirational slash
Okay.
educational
Hmm.
stuff on
Hmm.
TikTok. With regards to educational, of course, I would always touch on the different things that you could, how do you get involved in the industry,
Sure. Sure.
script
Is it all
interpretation.
voiceover? Because I feel like you should be doing some sort of cooking as well, just
I
because
agree.
it's so
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah,
Um,
people they want to be in your
People
world.
love cooking. They
Yeah,
love food,
yeah,
right? I feel like
yeah.
I'm not sure if you're familiar with Stephen Johnson, who does a lot of food
Yes,
reviews and
of
critics. Yeah,
course.
absolutely. So that's kind of his claim to fame on TikTok. But also, I mean, that's the entertainment value. I love that you talk about the entertainment value and the educational value, which I'm very much for because that's what I provide on my YouTube channel. Now, do you
Yes.
also have a YouTube channel?
I do, but
Mm-hmm.
honestly, I have made a promise to myself to be more active on YouTube this year.
Mm-hmm.
That's on
Mm-hmm.
the bucket list because I have been neglecting YouTube, but of course, based on what I'm seeing now, YouTube is the place to be.
Yeah. Are you, so do you have a day where you create content and do you have a schedule for that? And do you do this yourself or do you have somebody that's helping you?
I actually do everything myself.
Okay.
And to be honest, I don't have a day now. That is what I want to aspire
Mm-hmm.
towards because you want to have your content calendar. There's a way to do the thing in
Mm-hmm.
terms of the strategy. But
Absolutely.
honestly, for me, I go based on how I feel. I said, okay, today I'm feeling to just, I would pay attention to what I would
Mm-hmm.
have recently posted. And I said, okay, I need to strike a balance. I did a lot of
Sure.
educational stuff. Let me
Yep.
slice
Mm-hmm.
in some entertainment. Let me slice some inspiration. Share with them what's going on in terms of they always love to know what's going on in your personal life, right?
Absolutely. We love that peek into the personal life.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Or if I happen to have a voiceover program that's coming up, I would post
Mm-hmm.
testimonials from my past
Yep.
students. I would share clips from the classes because the classes are so full of life, right? So I definitely would want to eventually connect with a social media manager and streamline
Mm-hmm.
this thing
Mm-hmm.
better. But for now, it seems to be working pretty well for me. I mean, it worked well enough for me to, get that opportunity with Disney. So clearly I'm doing something
Sure.
right.
Absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about as a coach, right? What
Yeah.
is do you have a specialty that you coach, or are you coaching, most genres, live announce or, commercial? What is it that you do most over there, and are you known for a specialty?
Okay. In terms of the coaching, what I do, because things are so different in the Caribbean, I try my best to train them not to think local, but to think global.
Mm-hmm.
So I train them how to transition into the international markets, and I give them a taste of all the genres that exist, because in the Caribbean, most persons, when they hear voiceover, they think commercial
Yeah.
automatically. When I
Sure.
let them know and I share with them the corporate narration, there's e-learning, there's telephone IVR, there's movie trailers, there's and safety briefings, persons are like, I never thought about that. Most times, everyone is always so shocked. They
Right.
have no clue, in terms of the value of the voiceover industry, how many opportunities are there. And I think that's why I am able to capitalize and get the opportunities that I have, because I put in the work to do the research and to position myself accordingly.
Sure. Now,
Yeah.
your role as a coach, how, because I know as a coach myself, I mean, I have to be really careful with my time management, because I'm coaching certain days and I'm also doing voiceover as
Yes.
well, and so it's a
Yes.
lot. How do you time manage your time?
Oh, well.
Because I have people that help me to do this, because I do a lot of different things,
Yeah.
coaching, demo production, the VO Boss podcast. And so I feel like you're also very busy as well. How
Yeah.
do you manage that
Yeah,
time?
I am, and right now I have no one. I'm doing everything on my own. So sometimes it means I have to burn the midnight oil, right?
Yep.
I have to
Mm-hmm.
sacrifice and not go certain places with friends or family, because I need to really focus on ensuring that I give as much value as possible, because I over deliver. I am so passionate about this. So what I would have to do is carve out my time. Time management is so critical for me, because I have to carve time out for when I wake up in the morning and do my exercise, because that is
Mm-hmm.
important, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then of
Mm-hmm.
course you have your duties. I recently resigned from 20 years being in corporate.
Okay.
And so,
Yep.
yeah, and now to pursue my dreams as a voice talent full time.
So that's
And
awesome. Wait,
yeah,
before you go on, talk about, what did you do in corporate?
I worked actually at the bank,
Oh,
right?
okay.
You name it, I did it, from data
Mm-hmm.
entry to opening new accounts, from customer
Mm-hmm.
service to counting cash every single day, clearing ATM machines. And then
Mm-hmm.
I transitioned into marketing and advertising. I
Got it.
did script writing, hosting events, and even voicing for the bank as well.
Wow. So I always love, I mean, because corporate is like one of my loves. And I always say this is how I win at corporate, because now I voice corporate. I voice a ton of corporate, and there's so much opportunity out there.
Yes.
How would you say that your corporate experience or your life experience prior to full-time voiceover helped you in what you're doing now?
Oh, most definitely. Having an appreciation for corporate culture, when I
Mm-hmm.
receive
Mm-hmm.
certain scripts, I am able to understand what version is required, from the
Yes.
pronunciation to the attitude to the mood that you need to be in. Because although, with regards to corporate narration, it's storytelling, yes, but
Mm-hmm.
it's I call it storytelling with a twist.
Storytelling with a corporate
Yeah,
twist.
exactly, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Because you still have to ensure that you keep your audience engaged, but
Yes.
you want to not sound too familiar because it's corporate,
Mm-hmm,
you
mm-hmm.
know?
Absolutely. And you have to engage that listener, which typically is not necessarily a casual listener all the time.
Correct,
There's a purpose why they're listening to it. So,
correct, correct.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about being a female. Right, being a female, as a woman, what challenges would you say you faced in maybe in your lifetime in corporate or in voiceover, and how has it helped you to build your business?
Well, I believe in the Caribbean, the voiceover industry is male dominated,
Mm-hmm.
but my personality to go after what I believe is my calling or what I know is my calling, that is what keeps me going, because voiceover always kept me up at night and woke me up. Well, God woke me up, right? But you know what I mean.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, I told myself, if this is what I want and I have to fight and break down a brick wall to get it done,
Mm-hmm.
I will do so. And you have to put in the work. And again, being intentional about your brand, not being afraid to make
Mm-hmm.
the calls,
Mm-hmm.
not being afraid to let people know this is what you do, attending the networking events, having your business cards, investing in your website. And I had to build intentionally. I had to be very intentional with this in order for me to get to where I am and to be able to now be one of the, top female voices in the
Sure.
Caribbean.
Absolutely. And do you find that part of that brand building was utilization of yourself as a female Caribbean voice in order to really succeed? I mean, are you feeling that representation and your voice matters? I mean, especially in a male dominated industry.
Yes.
And also, I feel like, are you feeling like there are more opportunities now? What is your feeling for this today and the future
Yeah.
of female Caribbean voices?
For female, yes. For
Mm-hmm.
Caribbean female, no. I would still, love to think or experience whenever the international clients think, let's say, coconut water. They
Mm-hmm.
think, you know what, let's hire a Caribbean voice for that. When they think about
Mm-hmm.
a Caribbean cruise line, when Disney or
Sure.
any particular, Netflix or Disney, anything pertaining to Caribbean, they would, hire an authentic Caribbean
Sure.
voice.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that is where, again, for the Caribbean, us here, understanding the industry and understanding that it is a business as such, you have
Mm-hmm.
to position your brand as such. And
Mm-hmm.
that is why I'm pushing the narrative to get more Caribbean voices out there, because we definitely have what it takes. We are so talented, we
Sure.
are very animated, we are passionate as a people. But
Mm-hmm.
when it comes, I would love to see us receive more opportunities.
Yes, absolutely. I can totally believe that. And what sort of things do you think you can do to build those opportunities in terms of? I feel like if anybody can do this, Aisha, it is you. I feel like you have a plan and you have a strategy because you've been so successful so far. And I'd love to hear, and I'd love to help actually, if there's any way in which I can
Yes.
help you to
Yeah.
get more global representation and exposure, which is, part of it, coming on VO Boss. I mean, if I can help you in any way, I am proud and happy to do so. But tell me about maybe some strategies that you have
Yeah.
for trying to get yourself more out there. And
Yeah.
I'm going to assume that maybe it's going to be a lot to do with social media, because that's a global place
Yes.
to reach out to people.
Yes, yes, yes. I have even, resolved to searching on ChatGPT, asking
Mm-hmm.
about opportunities and to, in terms of gathering data and research and networking. And I am on LinkedIn, and
Mm-hmm.
anyone that I see that's in this space or that seems to have some sort of authority in this space that I think I can reach out to and say,
Sure.
hey, can we have a conversation? Because what I do know, it does not matter whether I'm from the Caribbean or you are from the
Mm-hmm.
US or you are from the UK. We are all aspiring towards the same goal, which is to
Absolutely.
continue to breathe life into scripts and to share our voices with the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we are
Absolutely.
human beings at the end of the day. And that's how
Yes.
I look at it. It's just a matter of having the conversation. At the end of the
Absolutely.
day, closed mouths don't get fed. So every opportunity I get, I open my mouth and I voice my opinion, I remain humble, but at the same time, I'm aggressive about it as well.
I love it. I love it. And I'll tell you what, I am here to connect you in any way that I can to spread that message and to,
Yes,
get more and get more representation for female
yes, yes.
Caribbean representation. So, absolutely.
Thank you
So,
so, so
oh
much.
my goodness, yes, absolutely. So, what advice would you give to aspiring voice talent, and specifically female voice talents,
Sure, sure.
um, that might feel, a little bit intimidated? Like you mentioned yourself, like in the beginning, you felt a little scared. What advice would you give?
If you believe that this is what you were meant to do, when you are bitten by the voiceover bug.
Yeah.
It does not leave you. That has been my experience. And that's when you know that this is what you're supposed to do. If you feel it in your core that this is what you're supposed to do, you owe it to yourself. You owe it to your destiny to pursue relentlessly and to not take no for an answer so easily. And if you do hear no, don't allow that to deter you. It just simply means not yet. No, next opportunity. Right?
Absolutely.
With regards to the aspiring voice talents, I tell them all the time, you have to broaden your mindset and not only think about how well your voice sounds. You have to look at it from the creative standpoint, you have to look at it from the technical standpoint, and you have to look at it from the business standpoint.
Absolutely. I think
Yeah.
that's wonderful, wonderful advice. And probably I'm going to say, business standpoint is where most people aren't necessarily used to thinking of it in that
Yes.
term. So
Yes.
business advice, what do you have? What would be your best business advice for somebody wanting to grow their business?
For someone that wants to grow their business, be very intentional about your brand. Know what is your why, what is your brand. The same way you would attend or you work for companies and you would have your mission and your vision statement,
Sure.
you have to create a mission and a vision for your brand, right? You have to figure out what is your unique selling proposition, what makes your voice unique, what makes your presence unique. Is it based on your life's experiences? You have to sit with yourself and take the time to build your brand. Be intentional about it, be unapologetic about it, and do not allow anything to compromise your mission. Stay focused. Whenever you earn an income from your gigs, you have to understand you need to reinvest that back into the business, reinvest it back into the brand. And you can't want to excel or succeed in an industry that you are not researching thoroughly. Be on
Yes.
top of information. Be on top of your
Absolutely.
stats. Be on top of what is trending. Be on top of, okay, we are moving away from announcery to conversational. What does that mean? Don't be cheap with investing in coaching as well.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that. I like that a lot
Yes.
because that's really investing. I mean, your voice is your product, and
Yes.
that is something that you have to invest in your business to grow in
Yes.
your business.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Correct.
Wonderful. How can bosses get in touch with you and find out more about you?
Sure, they can contact me via my website, aishamanriquemedia.com. I am also available via social media, Instagram, Aisha Manrique Media, TikTok, Aisha Manrique VO. I am on LinkedIn, Aisha Manrique. I am also on Facebook, Aisha Manrique VO. I am very responsive to DMs. They can also contact me via WhatsApp at 1-868-742-4742. I am always open to having the conversations about how we can all grow, how we could all support each other, and I continue to be relentless in my pursuit to gain more international opportunities and to place more Caribbean voices on the international stages.
Aisha, I am a fan. Thank you so, so much. Thank you so much for
Thank
sharing your
you.
wisdom. I feel like your Caribbean VO boss. I mean, I feel like
Yes.
we've got that synergy. So
Yes.
bosses out there, make sure that we're going to put links to all of Aisha's socials and your website, and make sure to check out Aisha because she is not stopping and she is on fire.
Thank you
So
for having
thank
me,
you,
Anne.
thank you, thank you, Aisha. It has been a pleasure chatting with you today, and I'm so excited for bosses to get to know you better. And again, anything that I can do to help propel you forward globally, I am here for you. And
you.
going to give a great big shout out to our sponsor, IPDTL. You two bosses can connect and network like bosses. Find out more at ipdtl.com. You guys have an amazing week, and we'll see you next week. Thanks so much.
Bye.
Bye.